Hello and welcome everybody. We're going to give it just a couple minutes for everyone to jump on and then we're going to get started. Awesome, awesome. Seeing lots of people flooding in. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us today. If you're just joining us, we're going to ask that you stay muted and prep for some Q&A at the end as well. So get your questions ready for us. Okay, looking good. So let's go ahead and jump in. Welcome everybody. So excited to have you join us today. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We have a 60 minutes packed with value for you all today. We do ask that you continue to keep yourself muted, but go ahead and prepare any of your questions and throw them in our Q&A chat. We'll go ahead and reserve some time at the end of today to be able to get to those. We have lots of exciting things to get to. Really excited to introduce our speakers. But before we jump into that, let me give you just a high-level overview of what to expect for our agenda today. So we're going to be jumping into the current landscape of roofing sales, how you can transform roofing with technology, and then we're going to dive in and share some tips and tricks with sales expertise and how to close the gap. And of course, we're going to combine and merge all of that together and talk through how you can really maximize technology with the expertise of growth and sales techniques. Then we'll go ahead and finish up with some Q&A, answer any of your guys' questions that you may have. And of course, we prepared a special exclusive offer for you guys to take advantage of today as well. So we'll be sharing all of those details. So with that, I'm excited to jump into who our speakers are today. So my name is Alicia Stepanovich. I'm the Director of Business Development at Sales Rabbit. You may have heard some of the exciting news as of recently. Sales Rabbit has joined teams with RoofLink, and so now RoofLink is part of the Sales Rabbit platform. So I'm really excited to introduce one of my now teammates, Jesse Mahan, who is the Vice President of Operations at RoofLink. He's been in the space for 15 years, and I'm just really excited for him to share the details on technology and his expertise in the roofing space. And then we have a guest speaker today who I'm really excited to bring on, which is Ryan Groth, CEO and founder of Sales Transformation Group. I'm sure you've heard of them because they're doing amazing things in the space. Ryan has been in the space for over 11 years, and we're just really excited to have both of these individuals on the call today to be able to share some expertise and tips and tricks to help you grow your business. So with that, let's jump into all this exciting stuff. So first, we're going to start off with the current landscape of roofing. So Ryan, so happy to have you on today. I'm going to kick it over to you to talk through some of the challenges you're seeing in the roofing space, what important trends you might be seeing and that are impacting some of that sales effectiveness, and really the importance of combining both technology and expert-led sales strategies. So Ryan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Alicia. It's great to be with you guys. Hello, everyone. And yeah, just talking about roofing sales today, I think some of the key challenges that really stick out to me, especially in maybe the markets that they're attending this webinar today, are going to be the fact that, insurance might change over time and that we're going to be seeing, a shift in the salesmanship in roofing. For example, the level of selling competency required to go from selling, a deductible only for $1,000 to a super high deductible where it requires more out of pocket or retail is different. And then even from that to a, enterprise commercial account, the salesmanship required is going to need to be increased. And so I see a challenge that in today's roofing landscape, if you as an organization have not been able to equip and train your sales reps with sales systems, processes, milestones, methodologies to support getting a prospective homeowner or a purchaser of roofing services to spend more money to pay out of pocket, then you're going to face some serious challenges. Um, we have several companies we work with that are doing really, really big numbers. And what we look at is through this lens of we want to professionally train our salespeople to be professional salespeople that happen to sell whatever it is we're selling, whether it's an insurance scenario or it's retail, but the same system, milestones, and competencies are needed.
Mm.
I'm finding that the roofing landscape is shifting. You also combine the consolidation efforts that's happening. So what you're seeing is best in class sales processes in a market that then these groups are smart and they realize that they need to professionalize their entire company, and they have regularly scheduled trained systems and trainings for these groups. So what's happening is like the best companies are becoming more competent at sales than ever before, and they're able to navigate the landscape better than before. So imagine this, like now you're playing a sport, and instead of it being as easy competition and everyone's really easy to go against, it's like now you're going from little league to high school to college to, instead of them throwing softball, they're throwing a lot more difficult balls to face when you're playing the game, because the competition's changing, especially if you're in some of the more difficult markets. And that goes back to like another challenge that I'm seeing. The most under-hired, under-trained, and understaffed role I see in roofing is the professional sales leader, the professional sales manager. Like, give me a really good salesman, really good sales leader. Get rid of all the salespeople. I'd rather have that, because I know that they'll build up the right people around them, because great salespeople, A players, want to be around great leaders. If you have a great sales team and a very below average sales leader, you're going to find that organization won't grow as much as the one I described before. So I think that there's a gold standard that's missing that, we certainly are trying to standardize and level up. We survey and analyze every sales rep that and manager that we train before they work with us. And we have a sliding scale of like either they're elite, they're strong, they're, capable, or they're weak. And what's crazy is that 55% of the salespeople we evaluate, we mark as weak. Like they're just not good. They're just basically, and I'm not trying to be insulting. What I'm trying to say is, compared to a professional sales environment, roofing has a lot of work to do to normalize proactive training and coaching. And that's really where I see the future is. The companies that are going to make it are going to be the difference between, I'm playing a little league, we're going to show up and pull our players together, and we're going to be a professional team looking at film, looking at our numbers, having a standard to our sales process. If you don't want to get with the program, we have other people that we can attract that would love to be here, that are going to do it and do it well. And so there's a culture and there's a standard that I think the roofing industry is going to need to shift into, because it is happening. It's happening because of groups like us and others like me. There's also larger organizations that have figured out that if we just build a very competent, high-performing sales organization that happens to sell whatever we're selling, we could sell the most challenging scenarios. You know, we're going to make it, versus, hey, all we know how to do is sell insurance, restoration jobs. And if we don't have an event, a weather event, we don't know what to do, and we can't keep our sales reps around. And so we're just stuck in this cycle over and over again. And we have to evolve. So I think that those are some major challenges. And then I also, lastly, and I won't take long, is I do believe that there's been a massive disconnect from professional salesmanship with the technology that they're using. And there hasn't been a bridge to take a talented human being who doesn't know roofing and be able to merge roofing, the sales system, or the sales professionalism, and the workflow of roofing into one place to get them to a high performing standard quickly and consistently. So there's some big challenges. I think that it's shifting, but we gotta got to get our minds right and make the adjustments. So
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
I'm seeing.
those are great. Thank you so much for sharing that insight, especially the stat on the 55% that you are seeing and like where they're at their skill set level, right? Because one, I love that you're evaluating that from the very beginning so that you can watch that progress or lack thereof. Because if you have someone come in, you score them and you're seeing, 3, 6 months later, they're still in that same spot. What do I need to change? What systems do I need to change? What's going on with the technology? Who are the people that we're surrounding these individuals by? Or are they the right fit? So I think one, you're speaking to that system in general of just by having some type of score. That's incredible. And I really heard three things. You're talking about systems and technology and how powerful and important all three of those are. And across sales, it's so important to be able to have the systems to be able to develop your people. Yeah, you can go play the recruiting game, but if you're only going after the big hitters and the professional ones all of the time, you're going to be very limited. Whereas if you surround and you perform or you create these environments where you can bring on
Mm,
anybody,
mm.
develop them, right? Then you're going to have massive success. And so I really heard you talk about that in the systems. Is that what you're seeing as well with the development of these individuals?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my dream state is that roofing becomes an industry where the talented person in the market in your community does grows up thinking, I actually love to be in that industry versus technology or versus medical device sales or whatever they end up finding themselves in. I want them to be like, there's some rock stars in this industry. I can go do well, have a great income, a livelihood, have the freedom and the growth I'm looking for, be able to provide for my family. You have to People have to view the organizations and see the outcomes of how the prospective talent can see themselves becoming.
Yep.
And so you have to have a good track record of not only producing those, but retaining them and creating a culture that they want to remain in. There's a lot of leadership required for that, but that's what I see happening, is not just having them go start their own company, like we see all often, but be able
Yeah.
to have a big enough vision and a culture of training and coaching that's challenging with enough camaraderie where talented people can come in and they don't necessarily have to be a retread, in another company. They can come in and have a great amount of success with you.
Oh, I love that. Definitely hitting on how to develop and create that culture and keeping that value for them to stay around, right? You bring them in, you develop them, you want to keep them. So that really great.
Totally.
Thanks so much for sharing that. Well, that's a perfect transition for us to talk through how you can now transform using technology. So I'm going to kick it over to an expert in this space, Jesse, to kind of talk through what he's seeing, how roofing sales are combining technology to be able to accomplish some of these things. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jesse.
Thank you, Alicia. And Ron, great points. With the consolidation of it feels like our whole market's being consolidated with private equity and these big companies coming in and buying up smaller guys. And then we've got the insurance laws changing in Florida and kind of a focus on retail is what we're seeing
Yeah.
from a lot of our customers in that market. So all great stuff. And then finishing up, you kind of talked about the ability to, you're really talking about making over the roofing industry and making over, giving the roofing industry a makeover as far as making it attractive for people to get into and be
Yeah.
able to serve their families, serve their communities. And I feel we can't put enough importance on that. But to swing back to technology, roofing technology, I've been in the space for 5 years. I've gotten to really take a look at different processes and different companies and the way that they do things. And I've got to watch our own product, RoofLink, evolve over the last 5 years. And I've picked up some tidbits I want to share with you guys. But first, whenever we're looking at technology and whenever we're measuring technology, there's a number of different ways to measure that. But typically, whenever a company comes on to RoofLink, one of our first things that we like to find out is we like to find out how many office personnel that they have to each sales rep. So that's one of our KPIs, key point indicators that we really want to identify. And a lot of times when companies are coming through the door, they're really lopsided. So, they have like two salespeople to every one person they have in their office.
Mhm.
And Going back many years and back to the origination of RoofLink and kind of our founder story is our founder was using a nationwide CRM. He had 17 people in his office and he had 34 sales reps. So he was working that same 1-to-2 ratio that a lot of people that come to RoofLink are experiencing. They're hiring, a couple sales reps and they got to hire somebody else in the office to support those sales reps. So what we do is we try to maximize that ratio, and we measure our product by the ability to maximize that ratio. And no other CRM does this. No other CRM is gonna, whenever you come through the door, they're not going to be asking you those questions because that's not one of their KPIs. And it's near and dear to our hearts to try to, for that technology to leverage it to serve our clients and to partner with our clients in implementation, to support them in remaining lean, because we've seen all the benefits of our customers to be able to remain lean. You don't want to make money all spring and summer and then give it back over the winter whenever there's no work and you're paying all these employees to just to stay employed, right? So we look for our goal as an organization is to leverage our companies and have a 10-to-1 ratio. So if you've got 20 sales reps, we want you to have 2 people in the office to support them. If you've got 40 sales reps, we want you to have 4 people in the office to support them. Now, we do have companies that run leaner than that. Our founder's company, currently the very same, the guy that built RoofLink, he's running about 70 reps right now, 75 reps, and he's got 4 people in his office. That's not typical, but he's just running a really lean process. And companies are going to develop systems and processes, whether they're good systems or bad systems. They're going to develop them in just conducting their business. And we've been able to really map out and streamline what a lean operation looks like from beginning to end. And we've been able to outline those milestones. We also give our users the ability to create new milestones and monitor those milestones. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a moment. But we allow our customers to see all these milestones from the dashboard and really run their business from a dashboard. And that's what, along with including all the tools you need in one place, aerial measurements or our do-it-yourself tool, integrations with EagleView, Hover, Quick Measure, the ability to create estimates, material orders, and work orders instantaneously from a measurement base, are just a few of the things that allow for automation and allow for that leverage. So when a job gets approved or goes to production, the material orders, the work orders, the estimate, everything's already completed, and we're not hiring people in the back office or keeping people employed to do those things that the system already does itself. So we just identified the low-hanging fruit as far as what items can really be automated and streamlined, and we've included those items in our systems. And then we give those systems to customers out of the box and allow for some customization as far as different items that they want to track and measure from their business. And that's, you touched on something a moment ago, Alicia, talking about, you don't want to wait 6 months with a guy that's, weak in an area. You don't want to wait we don't even want to wait 3 weeks. We want to identify that user really early in the process. And, we can do that with our software. We can see how many doors they're knocking. We can see their success rate at the door. And then we can pull them in if they're knocking a lot of doors, but they're not getting a lot of inspections, then we can pull them in and coach them on, proper, technique as far as getting on roofs and getting inspections, and then send them back out and watch those numbers go up. Yes. So really good stuff. And if you're not utilizing technology in your business, then you're missing out, and you're probably bloated on the office side as far as what you're spending. So just harness something. You spoke on another point, Ron, about just having strong leaders. It takes strong leaders to roll out technology. One of the number one reasons that technology fails is because of adoption. And that's directly related to the leadership that's rolling out that technology. And we're going to talk about a company in a moment. But just to kind of jump in on that and give you a preview, I was onboarding a company, and one of the project managers said, so I'm going to have to create a material order inside RoofLink every time I go to the supply house. And the sales manager said, yes. And he said, well, and the sales manager stopped and said, hey, either you're going to do it or you're not going to be here. Like, this is what we're rolling into. And that's what it takes a lot of times. Whenever you're rolling out a system, you're changing the backbone of your business. It takes a lot of strong leadership, and it takes a change agent to do it. So it's not just about the technology you're employing. It's about the leadership, their ability to roll that technology out to drive adoption.
Yes, absolutely. Great points.
All good
Really
stuff.
felt so much value jam-packed in there. Thank you so much, Jesse. Really, one of the things that I wanted to touch on that is so meaningful in the 10 plus years that I've worked with sales and specifically field sales across different industries is you really hit on the technology, how it provides an experience for the sales rep, right? Let's not forget how important that is when we're talking about recruiting and retaining. The experience that they have when they're actually inside those doors is just as important as when you're recruiting them, to keep them engaged and to keep their job simple and keep them doing what they're doing best, which is talking to customers, and really reducing the amount of time and effort that needs to go into logistical, administrative type technology stuff, right? So I love that the experience is so seamless. And then that impacts timelines, and that how quick can the job go through, because you're reducing errors of how it's entered in the system, and the customer experience is a lot more improved, right? So you really just hit on a lot of great things, as well as the whole tracking. And I think this kind of ties perfectly into stats and film, like Ryan was talking about. And if you are going to be able to crush those fastballs, you need to have some training and practice to be able to do those. And you also need stats and film to be able to help as well. So I think that that's a really good transition to get into how sales expertise can close the gap, and hear back from Ryan on some of the things that he's implementing at Sales Transformation Group and how he's helping companies in this realm.
Yeah. Well, I just want to compliment you, Jesse. That was some incredible numbers. I mean, I think about, I'm a sales guy at heart, right? We're talking about sales and growth, but revenue is for vanity at times and profits for sanity. And if you're over here, you got all this revenue, but you're not making any money, then what's the point? What is the point? I mean, everybody can talk about growth rate, but if you're not able to sustain profit, what are we doing? So for technology to actually reduce overhead and enable more for the revenue generators in the company, that is so amazing. And everybody, I'm sure that hits home and hits deep, because you're like, I'd love to have 10 to 1. I'd love to have 15 to 1. My 2 to 1 feels very heavy. This is insane. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And you made some incredible points. And yes, leadership is everything. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And adoption is change management is a big deal. But training, for long-term success in sales, this is what I want to touch on. So we have several different things we talk about at STG in our methodology for improving sales success. We're really big on that vision, that foundation, and the tracking and the visibility. You got to know your numbers. That's a core value for us. So if a sales rep doesn't know his numbers or her numbers, doesn't know his or her own personal numbers, his or her own personal goals, and there's not a marriage, a relationship between sales leader knowing their goals and their why, and then visibly tracking that, the coaching dynamic is less impactful. So what we want to do is create a connection. And so a big part of our methodology is train the trainer and lead the leader, and helping create a system and a format for them to have clear understanding of their team, their why, their goals, and then have visibility. So I love that RoofLink marries that. And I think that I think it's amazing that the Sales Rabbit RoofLink marriage has happened. You guys are partnered full time. I think it's so special, and it's really, really important for the industry. I think that the other thing that I want to just hit on is that coaching and training and process improvement is so important. Like 95% of salespeople are going to, what I like to call, show up and throw up, or just, quote and hope, or, just try to go linear. Right. And I think that a linear process is very good, but I think, is that 95% of people are going linear, and only the elite people are doing something different than everybody else is doing. You're like, what is the thing that everybody else isn't doing that the elite people are doing? And the elite people are able to know what's happening in real time. They have a degree of emotional intelligence, but they also have a way of having better conversations versus telling and pitching, that I believe is a difference maker. Because when we're in a market, we want to be as relational as possible, right? Why is that important? Well, when you build up relational equity, you're able to have more ability to get more referrals. Also, you're able to increase the deal size. You're able to create more value, and relationships occur when it's not as transactional. Yes, we want volume. Yes, we want deals, but there's a currency that relationship allows us, that gives us the ability to get more referrals, have the ability to dominate a neighborhood, which lowers our customer acquisition costs, or shortens our selling cycles, and increases our closing ratio, and then likely increases our gross margin because we have better deal size, because we have some better add-ons and upsells. So to have that elite sales rep has a different way about him or her that's not quite as transactional and one way and linear, that involves the customer in the process, but it doesn't have to derail the process. It enhances the process. So I think that that's something that we're really big on, because now you're like, oh, so I'm actually being trained to not manipulate people, but to add real value and build authentic connection, but also sell my value. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So now people are like, oh, that feels good. I can go to sleep at night and sleep like a baby and tap dance to work, because I'm out there making an impact. I'm not doing something that isn't morally aligned with my ethics and fiber of who I am. So that said, I'm a huge fan, like I said, about sales leadership. There's really 4 main things a sales leader needs to do. And if you're not doing this, you can get augmented outside help, like with a group like us, to help you either learn how to do it or do it with you and for you. So for one is recruiting. We talked about that a bit earlier, about recruiting great A players. The other one is accountability and standards, like holding a standard, holding accountability. That's something a sales leader needs to do, and they need to do it well. In fact, you may have talented people that have not been gut checked by a leader ever. But once that happens, you gain their respect. Then there's adoption. Now the clubhouse, the locker room changes, because those talented high performers are now following with the program. You don't want to have a bunch of people who are, disrespecting the leader. That's just, you're not going to have a great culture, and you're not going to be high performers when you do that. The third one is motivating / inspiring. If you're not doing that, I think one of my most favorite things to see in the space that I see, especially in more door-to-door companies, is these kickoffs, these culture building times, these recognition times, is times where the leaderboard is up, times where they're being like, it's a sport. Like, we're competing, when it's quiet, no one knows what they're doing, and they don't have, like, sales reps, 67% of them are intrinsically motivated, which means that 2 out of 3 sales reps like recognition and knowing that they're doing a good job and they're being recognized for it. That is twice as valuable. Yes, the money needs to be there, but you combine all that together and you throw some altruism in there, and we're giving back. Now we have this culture where sales reps, every single box is checked on the inside of what's making them go, and not just go all in, like all in who they are, all in who they can be with you and your sales organization. And you need that. And I think that that's super important. But the last one that is probably the most important is coaching. If you don't coach or don't have bandwidth to coach, get a coach and get them that, and pay money to get them to coach. And if you don't know how to coach, you need to learn how to coach, because it's like, let's just pretend we're athletes. We're trying to win a high school championship in Texas. That's where you are, right, Jesse? I think.
Yes, down here in
So let's
Austin.
say we're in Texas. Football's big in Texas. And all of a sudden, we're about to play the championship game, and the coaches are out, and all we have is third-party people. One's a Pop Warner coach, and the other one is like Nick Saban. Okay, who do you want looking at game film to prepare your team going into battle the next week? You want a coach who knows what he's doing, right? Well, I also said something that very few of us are actually doing, which is looking at game film or actually going and coaching and proactively seeing if we're doing something. So I think that everybody needs a playbook. I think that everybody needs a selling system and a methodology, because if you don't have a selling methodology, guess what's going to happen? You're going to default to everybody's individual sales methodology. Therefore, onboarding and training becomes a promotion of a bunch of individual performers, which takes away their time to perform and go deliver. But also, you're going to get a different message. Yes, everyone goes about it slightly different, but if, 2/3 or 3/4 of the methodology is uniform and they're all on the same page, believing this playbook works with their nuance and their personality and their unique God-given ability in the middle of that, that's going to be a scalable scenario. You're going to have something that you can confidently bring a rep out of wherever they are into your world. And you're also going to say, look, like the fundamentals built on the right keys are, I'm telling you, like they're timeless. And then they're not just timeless, they can't, like when you master them, that extra percentage point of mastery is like a difference in like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in revenue, that extra point or two, because it's just that powerful, right? Like if you think about it, the top 1% are dramatically better than the people who are in the top 20%. And if you have a framework and a format that is systemized and repeatable and fundamentally sound, that's built on timeless sales principles, check it out. You can't get a sales rep to master it where they're so undeniably good. Like most of them are going to need constant reinforcement. And once they are in that sweet spot, it's like they're like Bruce Lee or something. They're just like unbelievable. And we want that. And it's possible to have that. But I think that a lot of us like bring in a sales methodology, maybe. We don't really proactively test to see if people are phenomenal at it. And then therefore they're getting average outputs from what the sales system can provide. And what we need is a coach. What we need is coaches, what you need, who are phenomenal and like they're just animals. They're just like, I want us to be the best at this. I'm looking and thinking about your nonverbal communication, your tonality in this moment versus that. And then if I can catch you understanding why your tonality came through and why it wasn't great in that one moment, but you understand why, and a switch is flipped, and now that unlocked a different limiting belief that you didn't have, and then you flipped it with a supportive belief, then all of a sudden that sales rep has a permanentized, if that's a word, change that will create an ROI for you for a long time period of time. So when you combine technology and workflow and limiting overhead, and you have visibility and dashboard, combine that with competency, culture, mindset, and retaining top talent that's proactively being coached, you're going to smash it. You're going to win. I'm not saying like, let me just basically say you're going to make it, which I think you guys need to know, like things are shifting and changing. But if you do it well and you shut off, you put the blinders up and you focus, remove distractions and optimize for these things, you will make a lot of money. And not only will you, your sales reps will. And then if the valuation is where you want to be and you sell one day, fantastic. If you want to get back to your community and do mission work and charity work, fantastic. You're going to have that, but don't neglect the power of professionalized coaching and training, combining that with technology, and give it time. Some of you guys are like 30-second, 30-day like squirrels. Like if it's not working, you guys got to give it time. You got to invest in professionals with the customer success team at Sales Rabbit and Rooflink. You got to do what they say. You got to be willing to change. You got to invest in the coaches. Go to the conference. Let your light bulb go on. Flip the switch and make a choice, because what got you here won't get you there. All right. If you want to go from, 1 million to 10 million, you're going to have to change. And if you want to sustain 10 million, something's going to really change, because you may have a great hail year and all of a sudden you smash it and everyone's like, wow, we had a great year. And then the next year is like 2 million. Well, because a lot of things you didn't prepare for to actually build a great organization. So I'm just want to encourage you guys that there's a lot of power in combining these two things together. And so we have a great example of someone who's done that. I know we're going to touch on that, but I don't know if you guys, Jesse or Alicia, I know we have a little bit of time. Any thoughts on that? Just to what I just shared?
Yeah, a lot. That was awesome, Ron. Relational equity. Relational equity goes a long way for you when things don't go right, right? Sometimes things fall apart. Sometimes deliveries aren't made. Sometimes things fall through. And the more relational equity that you build with your customers, the more forgiving they'll be, and they'll still give you
Totally.
the review. Just being honest and upfront and transparent with them. You also talked about recruiting, and this kind of goes into recruiting and systems. Um, your CRM should, if it's not RoofLink, your CRM should outline what those systems and processes are. And if it's a selling system, it should have documents and content that's included in your CRM to help you guys sell. And it should be more, don't get me wrong, it should be templated is what it should be. It shouldn't be, I'm not going to say linear, but it should be absolutely be templated. And what that allows you to do is when you recruit somebody, you're able to put them in the game quicker. If
Mhm.
all the email communications are already templated and an insurance proposal email template has all the terms and items that this is associated with an insurance claim. This you're responsible for your deductible. Just all that language is already in there. Then, like you said, we're not having those individual sales reps create that content. The managers and owners are creating that content, and then you can just plug a sales rep in because all the email templates, all the text templates, the automations of notifying the customer when the materials are on the way, all those things can be built into the RoofLinks process, and
Mhm.
you're able just to plug guys in. And so you don't have to rely on guys that are roofing experts. You can actually grab somebody from a different that's a great salesperson that has those great sales qualities, and you can plug them into your organization and get return on them really early in the game versus having to teach them how to essentially run a roofing company on their own, because that's
Yeah.
what a lot of these companies do. They'll just, like you said, they're relying on the individual's ability to grasp concepts and then create their own selling methodology. And so yeah, I couldn't agree more with
Jesse,
it.
those are 1 out of 100 guys. Like we know that's like you got to get 100 to get the one who can like figure it out,
They can
has
write the
figured it
book.
out,
Yeah, they
and
can
they're
write the book on
crushing
it.
it.
Right. Right.
It's like, okay. And then, they end up starting their own company eventually, honestly.
That's
Like
that's
it's,
a, that's exactly what happens. And then they write the protocol. If they're really good, they write the protocol, and then they start plugging guys in. So you may as well get
yeah,
ahead of the game, and you may as well get ahead of the game and get the playbook, right? If you've got the
for
playbook
sure.
from the sales leaders that have figured it out, Ryan, his team, no better coaching in the industry. They've got the playbook for it. So why not take advantage of it? You have so many hours in the day to do so many things, and like you said, coaching may not be it. And so seeking
Yeah.
that expertise, couldn't agree with everything you said. Seeking that expertise goes a long way and allows guys that are roofers and business owners,
Mhm.
they're able to just stay in the game and do their thing while also developing their skills and growing as individuals. So good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I just keep hearing this theme of elite, right? And we know that Sales Transformation Group is known for that and taking and building this culture and the systems with that. I know, Ryan, your team just hit their 800th customer, which is amazing. And there's a reason
Yeah.
for that, right? It's because these people are coming to you, and I've met your team personally, and you have truly embodied elite all the way through every single one of your coaches that works with your customers. Every time I interact with them, I'm picking their brain and wanting to hear about the newest and things that they've went through, because they're just so knowledgeable, and they are looking at it from an eagle view of what's happening in the industry, what they're seeing that's worked, where the gaps are, all of those things. And so to be able to lean into the experts and people that are actually able to speed up and accelerate your success is just
Mhm.
invaluable. Honestly, it's really amazing what
Mhm.
you guys are doing. And I know we had some really cool, important, valuable tips here that we can run through. We're on time wise, we're sitting here, we probably have about 10 minutes till we have some Q&A time. So just
Yeah.
a reminder for any listeners and viewers to throw your questions in the Q&A. And then I turn it over to Ryan to get a little bit more about what you guys are using this methodology with.
Yeah, so I'll just keep it super high level. So STG, we're a sales training and coaching platform, and we have a sales methodology called baseline selling that we overlay our sales motions over top of. We have a commercial one, a residential, retail one. This is specifically built for roofing. That's door-to-door focus with an emphasis on insurance. So what we do is we actually break it out into milestones, so you always kind of know where you are, and you're never like lost. You're like, where am I? And it feels like a lot of like points, and there is, but these are just milestones on your way throughout the sales process. So from home to first, from first to second, second to third, third to home is where we have steps and milestones and accomplishments that will like enhance your salesmanship, period. So we basically, we have themes. So for the first one is from home to first is sell the inspection, right? We want to sell that inspection with some optional opportunity to dig deeper, which allows us to build some trust and relational equity before we even get up on the roof, which I know some people will disagree with, but there's times in which we teach to do that. And then from first to second is the theme is finding the findings, like what are our findings, and then having consequences being part of the discussion. So we have a 4-point inspection we teach. We have the ground inspection, the roof inspection, the ladder inspection, and then the last one is the attic, which nobody does because that'll actually get you in the home. And then what we also teach is when you're on the roof, do a 90-second video. Nobody else is doing that. The 90-second video is so powerful because you're actually able to inflict consequences and concerns in areas that you would be worried about in the video, so that when you're in the home doing the table meeting, what's happening is people are actually able to watch you prescribe their problems, and then they're able to say, whoa, like you could see their emotional reaction. And if it's concerning, in addition to that, with your findings on your inspection with your photos, and then you go through the 1 out of 10, how concerned are you close? Anything less than a 7, we're going to go back to consequences. So we have a few things on frameworks and handling objections. We sign a contingency agreement. And then from second to third, ask for referral number 1. We teach something called the honey hole method, which is essentially leveraging the build and the relationship you've secured in the neighborhood to get more referrals. We teach about that. Huge emphasis on the door-to-door area, which is super aligned with the sales rabbit and roofing process. We want to teach you how to ask for referrals 4 times in the process. 4 times the same customer, you ask for referrals 4 times. Some of you guys don't even ask 1 time. And we're going to teach you how to ask 4 times. So anyway, we have a whole flow of what we teach, but these are the milestones. Then there's obviously mindset, and then training and coaching, the nuances and role plays of that. This is just a high level framework of something that would be the salesperson facing sales training. We have video training, online coaching, on-site training. We have multiple ways to deliver this. But we actually, we put together a full video training course with a weekly group call for our clients to have access to that goes through all this. So anyway, we can move on. But I love when we visualize a sales system, and it makes it easy to understand, easy to learn. I have people with these printed out in like kind of a, that type of material that won't break. It's almost like a flat roof material, and it's in their car, and they're just like, they see it before they go in, and they're ready to go, and they're reinforced because the visual nature of it helps a lot. So that's something we teach. So you could expect that if you work with us.
Oh, well, I need to get my sales slick of this actually, then I'll take one. Super valuable.
I love it. Outlining those milestones is just like I said, you have the playbook. We're just simply putting it into a software where you can monitor those milestones, knocking the door. You mentioned the inspection, the photo inspection. We have customizable inspection templates, so you can create those, key points that you want your reps inspecting on every roof and taking photos of on every roof. So, and then you can monitor from the dashboard if they actually did the photo inspection or not. Okay. So, just a lot of different capabilities, and the intertwining your playbook with our ability to capture it inside of, your app that you're working on your phone or your desktop. It's unstoppable. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
so good.
Really
So
good.
good.
Awesome. Well, we have queued up. We have a mutual customer that use RoofLink as well as Sales Transformation Group. So I know we wanted to dive in and share, to take the next couple of minutes to share a little bit about that experience with DT Roofing. Then we'll go ahead and wrap up and share some of our exclusive offers after we get to Q&A. So let's spend the next couple minutes together, and I'll turn it over to Jesse and Ryan to just discuss a little bit more about DT Roofing.
Yeah, Ryan, you got started with DT before RoofLink did, so I'll let you kick it off, and I'll pick up, because we
Yeah.
actually met them at your conference or at your event. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I met Randy Hurtado. You might be seeing him on Facebook. He's been more visible in the last year or two. He's a great guy, great help to the industry. But he was doing about 9 million before working with us. He was probably closing 4.5 of it himself. He's a beast of a sales guy himself. But we were being honest. Like, they're in a great market for door knocking. They don't do it. They call them lead babies, and they weren't really doing much self-generated leads. And then as far as that, and then he as a leader was not the best leader. He was like a really good sales guy saying, do what I do, but he wasn't really a professional sales leader. So what we did was we actually analyzed the team. He realized he's got to get out of the way. We provided some insights, helped him with a screening test, get Mitch Hickman, who's our full-time VP of sales now. Jesse, what did they say they did? What year was that in 9 million, and when did they get?
2022, they did 9 million. 23, they stepped that up to 22 million. And here in last year in 2024, they did $28 million in business.
Amazing. And then they've even started a commercial department out of it. Like, they've been growing like amazingly, and they've combined using good sales leadership, using our support and tools. And then they actually have become a door knocking organization now, which their brand is very strong in their market, West Granbury. But which I think is important, by the way. I don't want to discredit their efforts there. But what they've done is they were like 25, 27% of their business back then was self-generated. And now it's 67% is self-generated, which means that there's a direct correlation with transforming their culture, prospecting, door-to-door, relationally focused sales organization using the sales systems we have with a professional sales leader that's also utilizing RoofLink. So now they have less overhead because they have less office personnel. The RoofLink supports that. Allows us to have more money into branding, the marketing, the growth, whatever it is that they're working on. And so that's been a wonderful success story. And I know they put you to the test and said, you guys got to deliver or else we won't say anything, but it won't be positive, but you guys did. And I know RoofLink's done a great job for them.
No, it was awesome meeting those guys. We were at the STG event in 23. It was later in the year. I want to say it was sometime around, September, or maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. It was maybe August 2023. And we saw all these guys running around. They were by far had the most presence at that event. They brought probably 20 different guys, and they all had their DT shirts on. And I told my partner, I said, man, we really need to talk to these guys. We really need to get in front of them. And we got between speakers, we got an opportunity to get in front of them. And I met Randy and I met Mitch at that event. I met a number of the other guys, Clay, a bunch of the guys. And right off the bat, we're able to identify that they were in trouble as far as their CRM. They were coming off of a huge CRM. They were attempting to onboard onto one of our competitors, and they'd been doing that for approximately 6 months whenever we met them. And so they were pretty motivated to do something and do something quick. And so it wasn't a month and a half later, we had them inside RoofLink, and they really kicked off in 2024. 2024 was their first full year inside RoofLink. And like you said, they were able to do more business than they'd ever done before. We're able to systemize a lot of their sales processes. And we've got such a great, Randy's one of these guys, you get these owners that are successful, and They don't want to tell anybody their secrets. They want to guard. They get that scarcity mindset sets in. And Randy's completely, and Mitch both are completely opposite of that. They see RoofLink as a partner in their business, and we see them as a partner. We want to win when they win, and we'll take the hits with them if they take the hits. But they've got a great mindset to share everything that they've learned. And so we've got guys coming through now that are saying, hey, I want the DT roofing system, set me up like DT. And so as recently as this morning, I was meeting with some of our ops personnel, and we are literally documenting the material order forms that DT uses, their crew work order, specifics, just different things. And they're an open book. They said, hey, anything to help out our partners, anything to help out these other roofing companies, anything we can share, we're happy to share, anything that we've got. So we're actually documenting and creating a DT system, processes and system guidebook that we're rolling out to anybody that asks for it, for that matter. I mean, you don't even have to have the referral from DT. You just got to ask for it, and we'll set you up the way that they're set up, and the way that they've been able to leverage their system for success.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Great to know how the combination has worked. And shout out to Randy. I mean, if you know Randy, you just love him and respect him. He's such a good human that's sharing his best practices like you guys hit on, which just shout out to Randy for being a good human. Appreciate you.
He's so focused on his community and service to his community, and helping out people in his community. He's got his heart in the right space, and I just love seeing people like that win.
1000% right there with you. Well, just to recap, thank you so much, Ryan, for going over the current roofing landscape and really what you're seeing trend wise and where businesses can focus their time. Appreciate you, Jesse, talking about how technology can really help with some of these things. Well, all of these things, and the sales expertise that we went over in regards to Roof Warrior and some of the methodology that is trained by Sales Transformation Group. We'll get into the exclusive offer here in just a second, and just really the combination of how important it is to have the people, systems, and technology for the success that you're truly looking for. So thank you guys for that. As far as questions, we do have 2 questions that came through. What are some of the biggest trends in the roofing industry right now, and how do they tie into sales growth? I'll go ahead and open that up.
I'll answer that one right now, and then perhaps I know there's another question, Jesse, if you want to hit on that, because you see the numbers a lot, and I can add to it. But I think that some of the biggest trends right now in roofing, it's going to be obviously technology adoption, but I think that some of the big things are like the AI, obviously utilizing AI in your company, but in sales growth, that there's some platforms out there that I know Sales Rapid has an integration directly into one of the primary AI powered game film, like game film platforms.
Yeah.
Basically being able to see in real time what your sales reps are actually saying, and then having AI have an overlaying effect to provide summaries, feedback, and key coaching moments. And if they even completed anything like that, what's been established in the platform, that is huge, because it'll expose what they actually are doing in the field, and then providing coaching for that. I'd say that that's a big trend for me. Obviously, the consolidation. I mean, private equity is huge, so it's changing things. It's going to change relationship with insurance. It's going to change relationship with suppliers. It's going to change relationship with tech companies. It's going to change relationship within the local market. But if you're not, I mean, they're going to have money to throw into marketing. And retail is going to be very, very big. Florida is, Florida's a tough market just to get, licensed in general, but I think that's the sign of the future, right? It's like, I think it will happen where, insurance companies it's going to be more challenging to get the lower deductibles. You have to sell a higher ticket for a higher deductible, and you might as well it's like selling a retail job. You're financing it, or you're getting them to pay out of pocket, which means you're going to need some good marketing and lead generation and branding and good salesmanship. So I know that the companies that are buying the more primary private equity groups are looking for retail companies doing 10 million or more with a strong EBITDA, which means like they're not looking for 80% insurance insurance restoration. They want 90% or more retail. But there are some platforms that like the door-to-door the insurance restoration space. All that said, those are some big trends. I don't know if Alicia, back to you.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, we can kick it over to Jesse if he has anything else to add. And if not, then you can just jump into the next question that came through.
No, Ron, I think you hit it on the head. What's the average expected revenue for a sales rep? So that really runs the gamut. And part of what we're talking about here is, the level of salesmanship, and your ability to relate to that customer. And so it depends on how much coaching you've had. It depends on how much experience you've had. It depends on your personality type. It depends on your network. How many people do you know, and how do you leverage that network to go to work for you? So there's a lot of variables that tie into that. But I mean, if I just had to pull a number as far as, revenue for an average sales rep, I would say an average sales rep sells, $750,000 in revenue. Sure, there's some guys that, hold on selling less than that, but that I see numbers all day long that support that. A seasoned salesperson sells, an average of 750,000. Everybody should have goals, and everybody should be shooting for well over $1 million. I've seen brand new salespeople. I'm talking the very first year that they're in business. I've seen them sell $2 million. So it just really depends on the person and their, how much self-motivation that they have, what kind of systems and processes are in place to support them, what type of coaching they have. So there's just a lot of different variables that kind of play.
And the costs of materials and deal sizes, did they upsell? Can they do more than just roofing?
What kind of market are you in?
Yeah, what kind of market are you in? Yeah.
How much opportunity do you have? I'm down here in Texas. We get hailstorms. The biggest and best, companies around Texas, they live off hail. And they also a lot of times don't stay in their home market. They travel. They'll use kind of a locust effect, and they'll go to where the hail is in order to gain that market share, and in order to feed all their people. So every company kind of operates a little bit differently. And you have different results, as different incomes and different earnings as a result.
Absolutely. Well, we'll go ahead and spend the next 2 minutes just answering this last question real quick here, and then we'll turn it over so that you guys can see what the exclusive offer is. We have, shout out to Ben. What are your benchmarks for growth for roof sales with new reps, first, second, and third year in Frozen North with shorter seasons for storm and non-storm environments?
Well, the storm and non-storm is going to be a difference maker, for sure. And if you're able to add things like retail or commercial, if you need to keep your pipeline full. But I think that first year, like our standards are higher as a coaching organization. We want to see a lot bigger numbers than 750. But I've seen somebody just carve out one honey hole in one year and do $1.5 million in just one market, because he actually stuck with the honey hole method rather than going to the next lead or the next area, which takes discipline and focus. But I would say, my hopes are that we're finding it's going to take time for their competencies to grow and to get to the level of mastery where it's habit at such a level of excellence that they're crushing it. But if they are relational and they have referral partners too, then they're going to see more organic inbound referral leads come in addition to their prospecting efforts. So, I mean, it just depends. I'm assuming it's residential only, but I would say 50%, sometimes 100% increase of what they did the year before, depending on how effective they are with the sale, post sale, and then lead generation and keeping their pipeline full. And then, yeah, I mean, I see dramatic changes. What we do for the type of growth per rep, we identify not just like their numbers, but the cause of why they may be struggling with an assessment we have. It addresses limiting beliefs that are sabotaging their ability to sell well. So what we do is we actually kind of like do a little sales brain MRI, and we say, where are we? And then we find out that, oh, he or she has a high need for approval, or they have a discomfort discussing money, or, they think things over a lot when they make decisions, so that therefore they're having a tough time getting other people to make decisions. So what we do is when we find that unlocks something. And then when we reinforce sales methodology, we start to see a big increase. But usually within the first 2 selling cycles, we see a meaningful difference in the sales performance because we have actionable steps in like their sales motion. I'm trying to rapid fire. I think we got to stop.
You're
So
good.
yeah.
Those are great answers. I know all the questions started coming through towards the end. We appreciate it and the engagement for everyone joining. Want to make sure that we finish up so that you know the exclusive offer that I truly want to thank Sales Transformation Group and Ryan for putting this exclusive offer together. Because you guys, this is a great value. I believe this is what, like $2,400 value offer here. So you sign up with Sales Transformation Group to claim that 3 months free. Use that QR code there. You won't regret it if you're looking to scale your business and work with Elite and build and surround yourself with Elite within your own walls. And this is a great offer. So thank you so much, Sales Transformation Group Roof Warrior, for being able to offer this for a partnership today in this webinar. And thank you, Jesse and Ryan, for all of your expertise and sharing with the industry. We appreciate you.
Oh, super grateful to be here. And yeah, I hope you guys take advantage of this. Something we just want to do with the Sales Rabbit fam. Yeah, just 3 months of our video training and group coaching, very high value. If you guys scan the code and get on a call with us, we'll figure it out. So yeah, thank you guys. Jesse, it's great to hang with you today. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Really appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And thank you everyone for joining. We'll be sending out the recording for anyone that may have missed it or you just want to go back and take some more notes. Thank you so much for joining and have a great day.